I want to be wealthy, so wealthy in fact, but while having nothing about me screaming the words wealthy. Now of course, I don't want to look wasted and poor, moving around like a homeless person, but also I don't want to follow the trend of what the world has defined to be the appearance of a rich person. When most people imagine wealth, this is the kind of person they usually imagine. Someone with a mansion, someone with a fleet of cars, always holding the latest iPhone, putting on consistent designer clothes, and filling their house and wardrobe with all the latest and trendiest stuff. In fact, I do have a friend who puts on the latest version of Jordans almost every year. I mean, every time there's new Jordans coming out, he's going and buying them. It doesn't matter whether the last pair he has is working well or not. It doesn't matter whether he's wearing that pair once every month or not. He wants to have the latest one. That is not wealth. That's not what they consider wealth. Let's consider the US, for example, one of the wealthiest states on earth. One of those countries where people do imagine that people are living the dream life. One of those countries where anyone on earth wants to go so that they are fulfilled, so that they are happy, so that they do get wealthy. 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Only 44% of Americans can afford a $1,000 emergency if it happened immediately. I mean, think about it. America, with a lot of wealthy people, only 44% would afford a $1,000 emergency. I mean, just $1,000. And forget about that. Only 1 in 10 Americans. What that means, only 10% of Americans consider themselves to be financially free. That means 90% don't consider themselves to be financially free. Now let's flip to the other side of the coin. Have you seen the queues when a new iPhone comes out? Have you seen all those guys fighting in line to pay $2,000 to buy a new phone? I mean, they are fighting to pay. Forget about fighting to have it. They have the money and they want to get the iPhone in their hands. How much? $2,000. They can't afford a $1,000 emergency. Remember, they actually already do own another phone. Have you seen all those people waiting in queue to get those nice summer clothes or that nice winter wear? Have you seen people paying $50,000-$60,000 for a car that could easily be bought on a second-hand line shop at $10,000 maybe 5-6 models later? A car that you could easily buy at maybe $10,000-$15,000 if only you are okay with buying a 6-year-old car. So have you imagined how these people can actually afford to do that? They call themselves financially not free. They are not able to afford a $1,000 emergency, but they're fighting in line to buy the latest things. Why? Because of consumer debt, credit card debt. Literally, the biggest percentage of people are living on credit card debt. The average American has a consumer debt of over $100,000. Now that's crazy. Really crazy. And the craziest bit of it all is that the biggest percentage of that debt is usually money that people spend simply to appear rich, to own that cool car, to have the latest phone, to have that nice looking beautiful house. Now it's not like owning a house is a problem, but a lot of people actually go out of their way to own a house that they think will help them hold the status quo, to own a house which other people will look at and be like, it's a really cool house, not the kind of house that they think is important for them or will serve their needs. So they end up paying more or having to pay more for a house that they think will show a better status than a house that will actually be of use to them. I personally grew up in a poor background. Forget average. We were poor, yeah. My parents struggled to pay for my tuition all throughout my school. If not for someone, a good Samaritan, who offered to pay my tuition after the age of 13, I certainly would never have made it to this level of education. So it was terrible at home. But you've heard the saying that every cloud has a silver lining. Yeah, it was a bad thing. I did suffer, but it taught me something. What that taught me is that I could satisfactorily live a life without having a lot of things, and I'm happy with it. Growing up, I actually never looked at myself as poor. Despite the fact that my family was poor, I never looked at myself as, being in a worse state or having no privileges. Why? Because I considered it normal. I didn't think that I needed all these things that the world has to offer. And now that I have grown up and gotten used to the life that I do have right now, I can make money. I make millions of dollars in revenues through the different companies that I do own and run. But my life has generally remained the same. Of course, I do own a few cars, maybe a house, property, and things like that, but the general lifestyle has completely not changed. I don't get things that I don't need. That's what life taught me from an early age. I actually noticed that I don't need a lot of things. When I did graduate as a doctor, I was living in a house where I was paying rent of $50 for a whole 2 years. $50 now. Here I was, a doctor, paying $50 for rent. Most of my colleagues had moved on. I mean, they were getting places where they're paying much more. The most expensive clothes I've bought in my life for myself is probably a $100 suit that I wore for my wedding. Certainly wasn't even more expensive than that. Can you imagine? And if you find me on an average day, actually, the clothes I do wear from head to toe usually cost less than $20. Yeah, $20 maximum. Shirt, shorts, and whatever kinds of shoes I wear, most times cost less than $20 all put together. And why? Because then I can utilize the rest of the money to do investments, to start the firms that have gotten me to where I am, to buy property that I can then utilize later on in the future, maybe sell it, maybe put other forms of investments over there, and even to start this YouTube channel because, for example, I don't edit the videos on this channel. The only reason you guys are able to enjoy these videos and do watch them is because I have to pay an editor to actually edit the videos because I honestly don't have the time. And because I'm investing in it, I think it would be really nice for you to hit that subscribe button. It would really make me happy. So come on, hit it. So the thing is, rich people rarely ever look rich. Almost never do they look rich. Why? Because number one, they prefer to utilize the money that they could have spent on maybe a $100,000 car to utilize to invest in order to attain financial freedom. Instead of buying a $100,000 car, which in 10 years will only be worth maybe $20,000, they would rather buy a $20,000 car and then invest the $80,000, and in 10 years, the $80,000 will probably be worth what? $500,000 US. So they utilize their money to make money instead of utilizing their money to, appear rich, whilst in the meantime, they're actually losing money. The other thing is rich people just want to not have focus on them. You see, if you're consistently looking rich, floating around money, driving the coolest cars, having the nicest house all around, putting on all the latest clothes, everyone just wants to come and pay attention to you. They want to put you in the newspapers. What that means is that then you don't get your time to focus on the things that actually do make you money. If you look average, if you look normal, if you look like someone of no interest, no one is going to bother you. What that means is that then you can utilize your time, you can utilize your focus and your attention to do things that can then make you more money and gain you financial freedom than wasting your time trying to please other people. But also, if you don't appear rich, no one is going to try to rob you. I mean, if you do certainly look rich, you're trying to attract other people towards you. They're going to come and try to rob you. They're going to come and try to manipulate you so that they can take away whatever they can from you. If you do look average, if you do look like everyone else, no one does care about you and you're less likely to be robbed. Poor people, on the other side, consistently don't want to look rich. Why? Because of one main reason. They have no purpose. They don't actually know what they want. A lot of the people who want to look rich and show off, usually it's because they probably grew up in poor backgrounds, or they want to prove something to someone, keeping up with the Joneses. They want to prove to their peers, to the people in their social group, that they do own something. But what that means is that they have no purpose for their lives. They're not trying to fulfill a particular purpose in their life. They're not trying, for example, to pay bills for their loved ones. They're not trying to find their greater purpose. The greater purpose could be, what do you want your life to look like a few years from now? What do you want your life to look like on your deathbed? That's the greater purpose. What do you want your life to have look like when you're not here? That is the greater purpose. If you think about that, then you'll be more intentional about how you live your life, what you portray to others, and what you focus on. If you're focusing on showing off to others, then you're not focusing on what you actually do want in your life. Now, of course, what you look like doesn't matter at all if in all reality you don't do anything to attain financial freedom. So if you actually do want to attain financial freedom, there is one thing which you need to focus on that will help you build and attain financial freedom. I've made a video about that right here. Check it out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell. Catch you very soon with another video. Lots of love. Bye-bye.